Hey guys, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. My name is Tanya and I'm the founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. How are things going? Now, especially with the likes of positioning, understanding positioning. This is actually the third video in this particular part of the series. And when it comes to understanding positioning, it is super important to be able to level up with your brand with positioning in mind. What positioning does, it helps you to create that level of authority you probably didn't even think you had. And it equally helps you to stand out or even show up in a way that's always going to be congruent to your standards and your beliefs. But it also helps you to build trust. And trust is something that a lot of brands out here need to do more of, right? And I'm sure you'll agree that without trust, the connections that you're trying to make, the levels that you're trying to reach, won't necessarily happen if you don't address certain key things. Now in this particular video, I want to talk about what is positioning in personal branding more specifically. Because we're going to start with personal branding, because personal branding is essentially what drives what any other kind of brand that comes from you. Okay, when you understand your personal brand, you understand what your business brand should be like, you understand what your corporate brand should be like, and you understand what any other brand that you then go ahead and produce or create should also look like. Now, with personal branding, you are going to be able to understand who it is that you are, but equally why it is that you really want to help people in a specific kind of a way. You understand your story. Your story, oh my goodness, is something that is super underrated by so many brands out here. And it's something that not enough people go ahead and share. Now, before I go off on one and continue to talk about it, I want to make sure that you stick around to the very end, because I also showcase a way to you to be able to take action continuously. Especially with building a story, especially with making sure that your personal brand stands true to your standards and your beliefs, and equally, especially in a way that allows your positioning to create that level of awareness that builds your authority and allows you to stand out amongst your competition, but doing so in a way that, again, always stands true to your standards and your beliefs. And with all that in mind, you're also going to understand how to make those better connections that you've been looking for, so you can get the results that you've also been looking for. Now, please make sure that you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel, because I share content just like this. It is super important for everybody to be able to understand what branding is and equally is not, so that you start getting the results that you're looking for, number one, but equally number two is that you start building on those connections that actually are meaningful connections. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So as I shared, we are going to be talking about the idea of positioning in personal branding. Now, I know I talk about positioning a lot, and as I said in my previous video, I believe, I want to make sure that positioning actually makes sense to you, because if you don't know what positioning is, if you don't know how it can actually help you or the real impact that it actually has within your brand, it's going to be the wall that you're going to be constantly hitting if you don't get it, if you don't understand it, or even how to use it. So with that in mind, understand that there are key things that you need to recognize, especially what positioning is in personal branding. The first thing that you need to recognize, and equally talk more of, is the idea of your bigger picture. Your bigger picture is essentially your mission. Your mission, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. What is it? What does it even look like? In the future, what do you see happening from your brand, your personal brand? As a personal brand, it could be anything from having freedom to having peace of mind to spending more quality time in the spaces that you really want to be present in. What does that even look like? Or it could even be drawing awareness to a cause that is near and dear to your heart, that you want to see more and more people get to know, get to grips with, get to really represent in the future as well. You might even have a number that you want to reach in order to be able to make sure that that happens. Your bigger picture is something that you should always draw attention to, because what that does, it allows others to see why you're doing what you're doing. And equally what that does, it also allows others to see that, this mission is something I also want to get on board with. It's almost like that ripple effect that you really want to make sure that gets the recognition that you want it to have. So, bigger picture, what is it? Recognize it. Now, this second thing, kind of on the lines as to awareness building, right? But more so in the sense where you're now making sure that with this next thing in mind, the thing that you want to recognize is the element that people will talk about you even when you're not there. And what I'm talking about is the idea of what do you want to be known for? Now, again, this is all stemming from the idea of, do you remember I've always spoken to you about the idea of your unique human point? This is how this comes into play. Your unique human point is going to be the key element that will help others to differentiate you from the next person doing something similar to you. Now, I'm sure you can agree, this world is super huge, meaning that your business is not the only unique business in here, in the world, right? There are so many other people doing something similar to you. However, what is different is your unique human point, but equally also the way that you help others. And I'm talking about really helping others. Because you know me, I'm all about helping others to see that they are more than what they see. And with that in mind, it helps you to understand what your unique human point is, and equally helps you to understand how you are really, really helping people. With that information is how you start sharing and translating the messages that you have to the different audiences that you also may have, sharing what it is that you want to be known for. For me, I want to be known as the branding specialist that not only shares the message of helping others to see that they are more than what they see, but equally helps to drive home the idea of, do you know what, representation matters, and you specifically are an example of a way forwards. You're an example of someone that needs to be seen more of, and I cannot wait for the day that I don't have to put black female leader in front of what it is that I do. To be known as a branding specialist and a super badass branding specialist in the field that I am in the industry that I am in, I look forward to that day without the additional titles. So, what is it for you? And with that in mind, I share those messages, yes, online, whether it be in my social media content or any podcasts that I've featured in, but I also feature it live and in person as well. So that means whether I'm on stage, speaking to an individual, or speaking to a small group, whatever that context may be, I share that message. How are you making sure that you are also doing the same? How are you making sure that the moves you are making are purposeful moves? And that's the third thing you need to recognize. What purposeful moves are you making? So with your bigger picture, with your thing that you want to be known for, how are you making purposeful moves? And when I talk about purposeful moves, I'm talking about where are you trying to be intentionally so that you can get the connections that you are looking for, so that you can eventually get the results that you're also looking for as well. And results, by the way, I'm not talking about financial results. I'm talking about connection results. I'm talking about relationship building results. I'm talking about making sure that your awareness is getting the recognition that it deserves, simply because you're now making purposeful moves in the right direction towards your bigger picture. Bigger picture. Keep saying that phrase in mind all the time in order to be able to understand what positioning is in personal branding. With all these three elements in mind, they combine to start building your authority. They also combine to start building your trust. And they also combine to start building your story. Your story captures each and every one of those moments, and equally the value that you have. Remember your VPV, the value that you would have discovered. Those values help to drive and help to trickle their way through each and everything that you talk about, especially when it comes to sharing your message and especially when it comes to sharing your story. So positioning and personal branding allows everybody who gets to experience you the idea of what you're about, the idea of your authority, the idea of your credibility, and the idea of who it is that you really are and why it is that you're really doing what you're doing. So, folks, I really hope that this resonated with you in specific, and please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And whilst you're doing that, make sure you go ahead and get to grips with my key principles that are yours for the taking. Now, these principles, not only will they help you to understand what that VPV should be in the first place, they will also help you to understand the type of connections that you should be making with the right kind of people, because you're not for everybody, and that's okay, by the way, folks. It is absolutely okay. But also it will help you to understand what those purposeful moves should be in the first place, where to be making them, who you should be making them with, and who you should also be connecting with. Now, folks, that can only happen if you start taking action, and action can only come about by you just taking one step at a time. So click on the link that's in the description box below. It's that first link, by the way. Make sure you fill in just those few details. I will fire over to you all those key principles. Go through them, use them to your advantage. Share any questions that you may have with me, because when you are sharing them with me, I get to understand, is this actually helping you? And if not, well, then I've got a whole other bag of goodies that will definitely help you for sure. So folks, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the other side.